Hi everyone, welcome to Slow Flow. We're going to go ahead and get started on our backs today. So just take a moment to find your way there. Taking these first few inhales and exhales just as a way of bringing your awareness back to your body, to this moment right here on your mat, wherever you may be. Perhaps placing one hand over your heart, one over your belly. Just start to make that shift inwards. First by noticing how the breath travels inside your body. And just with everything that's been present in our lives and in the world today, maybe your breath is a little short or shallow. Nevertheless, not judging, but just staying present with it. And start to perhaps notice how your body's feeling today. Maybe you do that little scan from the tips of your toes to the crown of the head. But just taking these first few breaths right here to soften on the mat. And soften through the shoulders and jaw. Release the tension in that space between the brows. And really taking this time for yourself to connect, to stay centered. Finding the breath. And then just right here, perhaps you bring the breath a little deeper inside your belly. And maybe the belly expands with each inhale and the breath travels up through the lungs, top of the head. And each exhale, your chest sinks and the belly hugs the spine as the breath washes out your feet. Just like this, with each inhale filling up, making space. Each exhale, letting something go. Perhaps you slowly start to tilt your head side to side, finding a little movement through the hands by circling wrists. And on the next inhale, reaching arms up overhead, pointing the toes, full body stretch. And on the exhale, bringing those knees close to your heart, hugging in. From here, extending feet up towards the sky, finding candlestick pose, pointing, flexing through feet, rolling through ankles, getting a little movement through those joints and the little bones in the feet. And then bending your knees tightly through your heart once more. Start to find those tilts from side to side, rocking here, keeping that low back pressed firmly onto the mat. Getting a nice little massage for your sacrum. Taking this slow. With an inhale, bringing arms out to a T. And on the exhale, lowering your knees over to the right, coming into a spinal twist, finding a nice opening through the left side. The rib cage expands with each inhale, knees heavy towards the earth. And on the inhale, drawing those knees back to center. And exhale, allow them to fall over to the left. Maybe the gaze goes over that right shoulder or stays at neutral, whatever feels good for your neck. Breathing deeply, finding space. And with an inhale, drawing those knees back to your heart. This time we'll rock back and forth a few times the length of the spine, eventually coming to table pose. Finding that alignment, bringing elbows and shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees, hugging belly to spine, and starting with those lifts and tucks, cat-cow. With each inhale, the tailbone lifts and belly drops. Shoulders slide back and the gaze lifts. Each exhale, curling the tailbone under, rounding through the spine, allowing the head to fall. Pressing here through tops of feet, shins, and hands. And finding some movement through the spine. Breathing deeply. This is a great place to cultivate ujjayi. Maybe you close your eyes and just feel into the body. Yeah, notice what each movement feels like inside your body. Breathing deeply. And then walking those hands about an inch forward. With each inhale, we'll drop the hips and move into a cobra. And each exhale, shifting sits bones towards the heels, finding a modified child's pose. So just taking these cat-cows a lot larger, if it feels good, if not, then just breathing through a few more rounds of cat-cow. Just finding a nice opening through the front body here. Nice stretch for the underarms. And then bring yourself back to table pose. And we'll find a few hip rolls. So on the exhale, allowing your hips to fall over to the right, the sits bones will graze the heels. And the inhale draws the body forward. With each exhale, shifting yourself back. And each inhale, drawing yourself forward. Going a few rounds one way, and then taking these hip rolls over to the other side, allowing your head to be really heavy here. Perhaps allow the head to go opposite the hips, making that figure 8 shape with your body, finding some opening through the side bodies here. And when you feel good and balanced, then drawing yourself back up to table pose, finding your alignment again. And from here, with an inhale, we'll extend that right foot back, flexing through the toes, finding your balance. And then inhale, left hand forward, finding spinal balance here. With an inhale, grow long, reaching. And on the exhale, crunching elbow and knee together, rounding through the spine. Exhale, crunch it in. Inhale, open long. Exhale, in once more. Exhale, extend, growing long. Then put a bend through that knee, reaching for the top of the foot, finding a bind if available, flexing through the toes. And on the inhale, grow long once more. Exhale, bringing left hand and right knee down. Maybe you find another cat-cow or some hip sways. Coming back to center before we take this over to the other side. So with your next inhale, this time that left foot will reach back towards the back of the mat, flexing through the toes, and on the inhale, right arm reaches forward. Exhale, crunch it in. Inhale, open long. Exhale together. Inhale, extend. Exhale, round in once more. Inhale, open it long. From here, bending through the left knee, reaching for the top of the foot, and finding that bind if available. And with an exhale, letting go of the bind, inhale, stretch long, and bringing yourself back to table pose. From here, we'll bring knees wide on the mat, Shift those sits bones back towards the heels and find a child's pose. Extending through the arms, softening the forehead down onto the mat. Breathing deeply here, and if the breath has grown a little shallow, this is a good place to always invite it a little deeper. With your next inhale, drawing yourself back to table pose, and we'll curl the toes under, lift those hips up towards the sky, finding our first downward facing dog. Pedaling through the feet here, finding some extension through the hamstrings and calf muscles, pressing firmly through the palms, allowing your shoulders to glide down the back, allow your head to hang heavy between the arms. Taking a few breaths here in this first downward facing dog. With your next inhale, bend through the knees, step it up to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, pressing palms against the shins. Exhale, fold it in a little deeper. Soft bend through the knees here. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And with your next inhale, bend through the knees, lifting all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center in prayer. And then we'll open up the palms, finding mountain pose, top of the mat. Softening through jaw and shoulders. Strong in the feet and legs. With an inhale, reaching arms up above you, grab a hold of that left wrist, side bend over to the right. Inhale, yourself center. Exhale, side bend over to the left, pressing through the right foot. Inhale, center, and on the exhale, interlacing fingers behind your back. With an inhale, knuckles reach for the earth. Exhale, fold it forward. Maybe the arms lift off the back. Exhale, plant that left hand down onto the mat. With an inhale, right arm reaches. Exhale, right hand back down. And on the inhale, switching sides, lifting through the left arm. Exhale, coming back to forward fold. With an inhale, find the halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, come into plank pose. We'll hold this plank pose here for 2 breaths. At the bottom of that second exhale, lifting hips up towards the sky, finding downward facing dog. And from here, we'll find this Sane once more. So at the bottom of your second exhale, bend through the knees, step it up to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center. Then opening up to that mountain pose once more. With your next inhale, lifting arms up above you. Grab a hold of that left wrist. Exhale, side bend right. Inhale yourself back center. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale, back center. Exhale, interlacing fingers behind the back. With an inhale, pressing those knuckles towards the earth. Exhale, bend through the knees, forward fold. And then letting go of that bind, planting that left hand onto the mat. Inhale, right fingertips to the sky. Exhale, switching sides. This time, those left fingertips go up towards the sky. With an inhale, we'll find that halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, finding that plank pose here once more. Breathing deeply, creating heat, and on the exhale, pushing yourself back to downward facing dog. Finding a few breaths right here. Really taking a moment to connect. With your next inhale, bend through the knees, step forward, finding that halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands. This time we'll step that right foot to the back of the mat, lowering that right knee, inhaling those arms up towards the sky, finding kneeling crescent warrior. Breathing deeply here, allowing the hips to get heavier towards the earth. And then on the exhale, bringing those hands to heart center and opening them up to a T, twisting over to the left. Inhale yourself back center. Exhale, plant the hands, and we'll get that right foot to meet the left, top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, coming up all the way up to standing. And exhale, swan dive, forward fold. With an inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, plank pose. This time on the exhale, lowering halfway or all the way down. Inhale, coming up to cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. And on your next inhale, bending through the knees, stepping forward, finding that forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Planting the hands, this time bringing that left foot back, lowering that left knee. We'll inhale, arms up towards the sky. Kneeling crescent warrior. Exhale, those hands to heart center. And we'll find that twist over to the right, opening up, breathing deeply. With an inhale, bring yourself back to center. Exhale, planting both hands on the mat, stepping left foot to meet the right, forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Exhale, bringing hands to heart center. Inhale, fingertips reach for the sky. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, plank pose. Exhale, lowering halfway down. With an inhale, finding up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Finding 2 deep breaths right here. And on your next inhale, that right leg lifts up towards the sky, bringing that right foot forward, pivot and plant the back foot. Inhale, lifting arms up, finding warrior A. Breathing right here, lunging in that front knee, squaring hips to the front. With an exhale, interlacing fingers behind your back. And we'll fold forward, finding that humble warrior, bringing right shoulder inside that right knee. With an exhale, letting go of that bind here, and planting that left hand on the mat, spinning on the ball of the back foot. Inhale, reaching right fingertips, dragonfly pose. Then stepping that right foot to meet the left, finding plank pose, and moving through a chaturanga, eventually coming back to downward facing dog. And from here, with an inhale, left foot lifts up towards the sky, stepping it forward, pivot and plant that back foot, lifting arms up towards the sky, finding warrior A. Breathing here, squaring hips to the front of the mat. And with an inhale, reaching fingertips behind, interlacing. Inhale, pressing knuckles towards the earth. Exhale, drawing that left shoulder inside the left knee. Maybe the arms lift, humble warrior. And letting go of the bind, planting that right hand down onto the mat. Inhale, that left hand up towards the sky, finding dragonfly pose. Exhale, drawing that left foot to meet the right and moving through your half vinyasa, eventually meeting in downward facing dog. Finding 2 deep breaths right here. From here, steadying your downward facing dog, walking those hands towards the back of the mat, bringing feet wide, maybe pointing outwards. We'll start to lower the sits bones towards the earth, finding a yogi squat. Breathing here, and then planting that left hand down onto the mat. Inhale, reaching right fingertips up above you. And then with an exhale, switching sides. Eventually meeting back into that yogi squat, maybe pressing those elbows firmly against the knees. And with your next inhale, bringing yourself back to a forward fold at the back of the mat. Start to walk those hands forward, finding downward facing dog once more. And from here, with an inhale, that right foot lifts up towards the sky. Bend through the knee, maybe opening up in that hip. And then inhale, finding that three-limb dog again. Exhale, drawing knee to elbow. With an inhale, lifting right foot back towards the sky. And on the exhale, setting up that warrior A once more, right foot forward. Breathing here. And on an exhale, we'll open up to warrior 2. Maybe the stance gets a little wider here, bending deeply in the front knee. Arms come out to the T, and the gaze is at the top of those front fingertips. With an inhale, finding a reverse warrior, not losing the lunge here. And we'll exhale back into warrior 2. This time, start to straighten in that front leg. With an inhale, we'll find Sky Archer, reaching for that right wrist, shifting your body's weight towards the back of the mat. And on the exhale, we'll find extended side angle pose, right forearm on right thigh, left fingertips up overhead. Inhale yourself back, planting hands down onto the mat, and we'll step that left foot about halfway in, setting up for pyramid. With an inhale, find a halfway lift, and on the exhale, fold forward. From here, with an inhale, walking that left foot to meet the right top of the mat, and we'll set up for a chair pose, bending the knees, sinking the hips, lifting arms up overhead. And with an inhale, root to rise, come all the way to standing. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, going through your half vinyasa here, eventually meeting in that downward facing dog once more. Finding a few deep breaths, connecting here with the breath, before taking this over to the other side. So with that inhale, lifting that left foot, bending and opening through the knee. Inhale, find that three-limb dog, and exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lifting left foot up high. Exhale, bringing that left foot forward, pivot and plant the back foot, finding that warrior A once more, squaring hips forward. And with an exhale, drawing hands to heart center, we'll open up to warrior 2, bending deeply through the left knee, pressing through the outer edge of that right foot, bringing arms out to a T, gaze is forward. And with an inhale, let's find here that reverse warrior. So this time those left fingertips come up overhead, right hand down the leg or behind the back. And exhale, bringing yourself back to warrior 2. Inhale, start to straighten in that front leg. We'll reach arms up overhead, grab a hold of that left wrist, Sky Archer pose. And on the exhale, bending through the left knee once more, extended side angle pose, left forearm on left thigh, right fingertips up overhead. With an exhale, planting both hands down onto the mat, bringing that right foot about halfway in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, pyramid pose. And with an inhale here, we'll start to draw that right foot forward to meet the left, setting up that chair pose once more, sinking hips, ensuring those knees don't go past your toes, hugging belly to spine. Beautiful. With an inhale, pressing through feet, root to rise, coming all the way up to standing. Exhale, swan dive. With an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, plank pose, moving through your half vinyasa. Finding your way back to downward facing dog. And once you've made your way there, go ahead and lower those knees down onto the mat, leaving those hips high up towards the sky. Start to walk those hands forward, finding your heart melt pose, softening the chest towards the earth. Should feel really good for the low back, for the shoulders. Finding a few deep breaths right here. Connecting if the breath has grown shallow. Working to bring it back. And then pressing through palms, bringing yourself back to table, and then start to draw those hips towards your heels, sitting on your heels if possible, finding hero's pose, placing your palms facing up on your thighs. Perhaps taking a moment right here just to notice how you're feeling. Maybe you're feeling that heart beating so strongly inside your chest. And on the exhale, bringing yourself to a child's pose, lowering your chest over those thighs, and we'll reach with the right hand for the right heel here, and we'll lift up onto those knees, inhaling, extending that left arm overhead, finding a half camel. And then swaying yourself back into that child's pose, reaching for the left heel, finding half camel on the other side. Swaying yourself back to child's pose, and inhale, switching sides, taking this revolving half camel a few times on each side. Finding a few heart openers right here, working to keep those hips shifted towards the front of the mat, chest open. Taking as many rounds as you need before settling back into that child's pose. And then from here, coming up onto those knees, we'll work to find a full camel if available. So with an inhale, reaching that right arm overhead, those fingertips either reach for a heel or your thigh or your back. And then with an inhale, we'll work to lift those left fingertips and reach them back. Settling into this camel, maybe your gaze lifts, opening through the heart. Staying here as long as feels good, and then eventually meeting into that child's pose, maybe keeping your knees together, finding a rounding through the spine here. And with your next inhale, when you feel ready, and only when you feel ready, bringing yourself back up to that table pose. Eventually meet in that downward facing dog, just as a transition here. So with an inhale, that right foot lifts up towards the sky, and we'll work to find pigeon pose. So drawing that right knee close to your right wrist, squaring in the hips, bringing that shin as parallel as you can. Pressing through the palms, lifting through the heart with an inhale, and on the exhale, lowering yourself down, finding pigeon. Breathing deeply here. This is a big opening for the right outer hip, the glute muscle. just allowing whatever comes up just to be, breathing deeply through it. Taking as many breaths as you need right here in this opening. Being gentle and compassionate. Finding your edge and then just sort of sitting in that sweet spot. Not overdoing it or exerting your body more than you need to. Just being really soft and gentle with yourself. From here, with an inhale, pressing through the palms, we'll draw that right heel close to your groin and then bend through that left knee, reaching for the top of your left foot with either hand, and then drawing that left foot close to your back side first, and then pressing that top of the foot away from you, finding a heart opener here. And when you feel ready, making your way back to that 3-limb dog if available, taking any rebound you may need to right here, before settling yourself back into that downward facing dog. And we'll find pigeon over on the other side. So with an inhale, left foot lifts up above, and then drawing that left knee towards that left wrist, setting yourself up first. So allowing those hips to sink, extending through that right leg, pressing through the hands, inhaling first, and then on the exhale, lowering yourself down, allowing for this opening over on the left side this time. Finding some of your deepest breaths right here. Staying with the breath. Wherever you may feel tension or anxiety, allowing the breath to fill up that space. And then when you feel ready, pressing through palms, and we'll start to lift yourself up, and then drawing that left heel closer to your groin, bending through the right knee, reaching for the top of that right foot, drawing it close to your backside first, and then pressing top of the foot away from your body, finding that shoulder opener, that heart opener. And then when you feel ready, letting go of that bind, pressing through palms, curling that back toe under, working your way back to that 3-limb dog, finding any rebound that feels good, bringing yourself back to that downward facing dog. And from here, we'll work to find a few shoulder openers, so bringing yourself back down to that table pose. Finding your alignment once more. With an inhale, we'll reach those right fingertips up towards the sky, and on the exhale, reaching that hand towards the spine, hugging in. With an inhale, drawing that arm up long. Exhale, reach for the spine. Inhale it long once more, and this time on the exhale, coming down on that right shoulder, finding any variation of this pose that you may like. Maybe you bring that leg out wide, that left leg out wide, or back behind you, extending through that left arm, or draping that left hand over your back. Whatever feels good, but allowing the weight of the body and gravity here to find a nice opening here through that right shoulder, softening in. breathing deeply. And then if your leg is out, drawing that leg back in, pressing through the left palm. Inhale, extend through the right arm once more. Exhale, bring yourself back to that table pose. Maybe find a cat-cow, something to bring yourself back to center. And we'll find this on the other side. So inhale, lifting those left fingertips. And then exhale, reaching for your spine with an inhale. Left fingertips reach, exhale, rounding, reaching for the spine. Inhale, lift it long once more. Exhale, thread the needle, bringing this time that left shoulder down onto the mat. And again, taking any variation of this pose that you may like or that feels good for your body. Working to find that opening through the left shoulder. Breathing here. And then once more, if your leg is out, drawing that leg back in. And then pressing this time through that right palm. Inhale, left fingertips up towards the sky once more. Bringing yourself back to that table pose. And then eventually we'll come seated on the mat, extending both legs long in front of you. And then removing that flesh from your backside, finding those sits bones. We'll draw the sole of that right foot inside the left thigh. With an inhale, reaching arms up towards the sky. Exhale, we'll find a forward fold. Folding over that left leg. Breathing deeply here into the back body. Softening the heart. And with your next inhale, bringing yourself back upright, extending through that right leg, maybe shaking it out. And we'll switch sides, this time drawing the left sole inside the right thigh, sitting up nice and tall, inhaling those fingertips up towards the sky. Exhale, reaching with a long back, folding over that extended right leg. Not tightening the grip here, rather just allowing the weight of your body to fall heavy over that extended leg. Finding a nice opening here for the low back, the hamstring muscles. Breathing deeply. And on the inhale, drawing yourself back up to center, extending through that left leg. And we'll find a full seated forward fold here, so flexing through toes. Inhale, reaching fingertips up towards the sky. And exhale, reaching with your heart, folding over your legs, keeping a soft bend through the knees, allowing your head to hang heavy. And on your next inhale, start to gently roll up through the spine. And from here, we'll work to find a reverse table. So bringing hands behind your back, bringing those feet down onto the mat and bending through knees, lifting hips up towards the sky. Maybe the gaze lifts. And And on the exhale, lowering yourself back down. Eventually coming to laying down on your back, taking your time to get there, whatever feels good. And once you've made your way there, hugging those knees into your heart, finding those rocks side to side once more. Keeping that low back firmly pressed down onto the mat. Going side to side. And eventually from here we'll find a happy baby, reaching for the soles of the feet with your hands. And again, working to bring those soles up towards the sky, bringing those knees close to your underarms, working to keep that low back planted. So if you find that your tailbone's lifted, maybe releasing the grip and holding on to your shins or even the back of the thighs. Maybe you rock side to side or you stay absolutely still. Whatever feels good. And then from here, letting go of that bind, extending those feet up towards the sky, finding that candlestick pose once more, maybe flexing and pointing through the feet. And then we'll bend those knees close to the heart, bring those arms out to a T, and allow the knees to fall over to the right, finding this spinal twist once more. Just like how we started. Maybe you notice the body feels a little more open. And with an inhale, drawing those knees back to center. And on the exhale, allowing them to fall over to the left. Maybe this time the gaze travels over that right shoulder, softening. Breathing. And then when you feel balanced, and only when you feel balanced, on your next inhale, bringing those knees back to center. This time hugging them in tightly, drawing your nose close to your knees. And then from here, we'll open up to our Shavasana, knowing that you can feel free to take any other posture that may be calling you today. Otherwise, making your way to your final resting pose, either in corpse pose, extending through arms and legs, or butterfly, bringing soles of the feet together. Take a deep inhale through the nose, fill up all the way to the top. Open the mouth, sigh it out, and take some rest. Shavasana. your next inhale, gently draw those hands into prayer and allow your thumbs to rest between the brows, right through that third eye space, perhaps offering up some gratitude, or perhaps praying for something you want to invite into your life, into the world. On your next inhale, drawing those arms up overhead, pointing through the toes, big full body stretch here. And on the exhale, finding your way to that fetal pose, this posture of rebirth and renewal, always reminding us that we can always begin again and again and again. And then gently finding your way to a seated pose. With an inhale, lifting arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, bowing the chin in gratitude. So much gratitude for all of us right now. With so much love from my heart directly to yours, I humbly bow. Namaste.